What's going on, guys? I'm going to go ahead and be doing one of these audio responses. Okay. I'll be playing a video from YouTube and I'll be responding to it. Um, and then let me first kind of give you my quick take and I'll give a little more after. Um, this woman from Australia got killed by a police officer. So, yet another person killed by police this year, right? It's definitely a problem, but and a lot that we have to address. But for whatever reason, this specific situation, um, it's kind of unique. I've been look me personally. I like to stay away from echo chambers. Okay, I like to stay away from one like perspective, and I listen to a lot of people. I listen to people I don't agree with. Okay, I listen to people I do agree with, and I listen to people that I'm in between. Okay, from progressives to I even listen to all right people. Okay, and it's not because I like it or whatnot. It's just I like to keep options open, right? And you got to hear all sides sometimes, also to kind of understand different perspectives. It's kind of strange. Like it's kind of weird how people can remove themselves from reality sometimes. And you don't really get a true sense of reality until you're listening to all sides, and that's just the reality. Okay. So I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna be responding to Brett. I think he did he has a terrible take, but it's also very telling on his perspective. Okay, it's very telling, and a lot of and everything from undertones to very direct things, and it's also very telling of the echo chambers that he listens to and where his perspective comes from. It's pretty clear. It's coming from far right wing websites. It's pretty clear. Um, a lot of what he says is not true. Okay, but let's go ahead and address it. Right, I'm ready to play this.
This incident in Minneapolis, where a cop shoots an innocent woman, Justine Damond, an Australian woman, shoots her dead, unarmed, a white woman in an upscale white suburban neighborhood in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there's no outrage here. For all the other things with cops, there's outrage. A cop, takes a sip of coffee. Outrage, like.
So keep in mind a couple things. First of all, he said cops take a sip of coffee. Outrage. Well, we know that's not true, but what he's doing, he's from his perspective, what he's insinuating is that everything that people have been outraged about with police is ridiculous. It's comparable to a cop having a sip of coffee and people being outraged about it, right? So when a 12-year-old kid is shot down by police for playing with a toy gun, something I did as a kid, right? That's comparable to being outraged about a cop having a sip of coffee. When a police officer is told, "Officer, I have a legal weapon with me, with me. I am not reaching for my gun," and then he gets shot down anyway, in a state that allows you to carry weapons, in a country where we're told that we have a Second Amendment right, right? That is comparable to a cop having a sip of coffee. Nobody is complaining or outraged that cops are having a sip of coffee or that they exist. Unarmed people are getting shot and killed. And when you look at the percentage of the population, right, when you look at the entire percentage of the population, minorities are killed at a much higher rate. And of the minorities, blacks are killed at even a higher rate. Those are just the numbers, okay? Also, notice how he's insinuating that there's no outrage about this. Now, we know that there is outrage about this. It's all over the media. It's all over the news. I'm looking at it right now in the news. It's all over social media. So it makes me wonder, who is he talking about? Well, he's about to tell us.
So here's the interesting thing about it. She's in her pajamas. She calls 911. It hasn't even really come out what this is about. It was like a complaint or something. But basically,
So there has been stuff, that he calls, right? He says there's not much known about it. Well, more information. I don't know when he recorded this, but more information has come out. Okay, so just putting that out there.
Unarmed. She comes up to the squad car after calling 911, and the officer, this Somali officer, and of course on this video also I'm going to get flack for saying what he is, because that's what they used to do back in the day. They used to identify people by nationality. They looked their country of origin. So you've got this guy, and he's this. They hired him on the police force for diversity reasons. That.
I don't know if you guys are catching this, but he's already. And the reason I'm playing this video, because this is a microcosm of what's happening right now, all over social media. Okay. He's bringing up stuff that is honestly very relevant. Like, it's very relevant, right? I gotta say it. He's Somalian. If you say a cop of Somalian origin and just moved on, nobody would think anything of it. But you're really emphasizing that he's Somalian. Okay, like you're emphasizing, and then he says, back in the day, you were able to just say what they were. Like, it's just this is insane, right? But I thought, I've been hearing, every time they say a white police officer shot a unarmed black man or a brown person or something, right? Every time I see the news about that, okay? Every time. I always hear, oh, why do they have to make it about race? White people get shot down too. Why are they race baiting? Like that is classic projection, because this is race baiting. Okay, what this guy is doing right now is the definition of it, right? And but he's not saying black. Well, he's really emphasizing Somalian. Okay, and then he's gonna. There's more to it than just that. Okay, there's more to it. Okay, but this whole this doesn't sound like an opportunist coming on here just wanting to play the victim to you. I don't know what is, right? It is possible for all of us to be outraged that an unarmed person was killed by police again. Okay, that would be easy, but unfortunately, you got people like this, right? Let's listen a little more.
And he was a very popular officer because of that. They don't have that many Somali cops, so they got him onto the force. And there have been numerous complaints against this officer, which is something we need to take into account. You don't like the fact that he's Somali, you don't like that I'm saying that, you think that right away is racist, or you think that that's prejudice and that I'm singling out a group of people, that being Somalis, by mentioning that here. Go ahead and think that. But how about the complaints against this guy? The woman comes up to the car, this white woman, and he shoots her.
All right. So there you go, right? You see, and he said himself, if these are things that are running through his mind, that might have sounded racist, so I'm going to say, what are you going to do? Say that it's racist? That's exactly what they do, right? Well, if you're thinking it sounds racist, maybe, I don't know, you tell me. But, okay, what he's saying basically, if you listen carefully, is, they just had to have a Somali on the police force. We're perfectly fine with the police force the way it is, but you got to add a Somali, okay? They wanted diversity and all that, and he was popular because he was Somali, but he had a lot of complaints. Did they do anything about the Somali? They did nothing because he's Somali. So what are you trying to say, Brett? Are you trying to say that if he was white and he had a lot of complaints that they would have gotten rid of him? Because I could bring up a whole list of cops that had many complaints against them and a history of bad behavior, okay, who got paid leave and were back on the streets in no time and shot unarmed people. Because, in case you don't know, police unions are very powerful. Police unions are very powerful, okay? Look, I didn't look at it. I don't know if there was a lot of complaints about this Somali cop or not. I have no idea, okay? I just know he got the same training every fucking cop gets. That's all I know, right? Shoot now, ask questions later. That is police procedure. And you're already putting the cop on trial. What happened to let's wait for information to come out? You don't know what happened. Let's wait for the police report, right? Let's wait for the police to, everybody always wants to give the police, a head start to get their story together. Everybody's outraged about no footage, no body cam, no this, no that. Yet when police keep body cams away from the public, there's no outcry. Oh no, you got to let the police officers do the investigation. You have to let them. What about the police officer that shot the young man running away from him and then planted a weapon, okay, a taser next to him, and lied, saying that this individual attacked him and that's why he had to defend himself? It was all caught on tape, yet they couldn't find him guilty. That guy couldn't be found guilty. There was no outrage about that. But this officer, he's already being attacked in all this, right? This is insane. Anyway, let's proceed.
Shoots her multiple times. Multiple times.
Brad, you could say multiple times, 1,000,000 times if you want. Should we bring up all the stories of cops that shot victims multiple times? You know how many times Castile was shot? Do you know how many times that guy was shot? The cop was found not guilty, and he shot him multiple times. He was a law-abiding citizen, had not committed any crimes, okay? And he was shot dead. I didn't see your video. You didn't make a video about that. I've seen you do videos about the Second Amendment and all that. How about like over a year ago about how Obama was going to take everybody's guns? But I didn't see you do a video when a law-abiding gun owner who let a police officer know he has a gun with him. Isn't that the classic story that Sean Hannity tells everybody? I never had problems with cops. Every time they pull me over and I say, "Hey, officer, how you doing, officer? Just to let you know, I have a legal gun with me." And the officer says, "Okay." Let's move on.
An unarmed woman in her pajamas. And there's no outrage. Where's black?
Just an unarmed woman in her pajamas, right? I could talk about unarmed kids with Skittles in their hands, right? I could talk about, a 12-year-old with a toy gun in his hand. I could talk about a man that was holding a toy gun at Walmart, okay? In a Walmart, by the way, that was allowing open carry, right? I could talk about many things. We all can. Right? Spare me.
Lives matter. Oh, that's right. She's not black, so nobody cares, right? She's white, so nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck, right? Because she's white, so no one cares. I understand that. That's of course. What was I thinking? So.
Right. So 2.5 minutes into the video, he finally came out and said it. Setting it all up to just be able to say, well, nobody cares because she's white, right? This is how this individual feels. Now, I see plenty of people that care. You want me to be honest? I care. I think it's sad that a innocent woman who has you know, no connection with any of the, police shootings before. Okay. She got killed by a police officer that, in my opinion, by the looks of it, needs far better training. And it's not just him, it's the system. We have far too many people getting killed by police officers. Far too many people. And far too many times do we allow the excuse of, I was in fear, I was scared, therefore I had to, I just felt like it was an imminent threat, so that's why I shot. That's what they trained me to do. Far too many times, that's, perfectly fine in the eyes of the law. Juries say, okay, yeah, well, he was scared. We don't know how he felt. We got to believe the police officer. The police officer said he was scared, that he felt an imminent threat, so he had to shoot. Far too many people are okay with that explanation. That explanation makes all the sense in the world to people, right? But, it only makes sense when, it's something that scares you, apparently. A white woman in her pajamas doesn't scare me. So why would it scare a cop? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it was a big, scary dude. Maybe then it makes sense, but this is a woman. Yeah? What about the pregnant women that were shot by cops? What about them? Or beat up and slammed by cops? Were they an imminent threat too? What about the old ladies that were slammed in the ground because they were an imminent threat? What about 112-pound little girls in middle school getting slammed by cops? Were they an imminent threat? Were they an imminent threat too? You see, I understand the outrage because you're able to empathize with the situation. Okay? Like you understand, like it only makes sense to you now because you're looking at it from your perspective. Because, when you look at this woman, she might look like your sister. She might look like your mother. She might look like, a girlfriend of yours. She might look like a friend of yours, somebody you grew up in high school with, one of your cousins. So when people see that and they see, well, she was unarmed, it doesn't make sense. And then why did he shoot multiple times? All of a sudden they're questioning that, right? When cops shot other people, oh, you don't understand. You got to put it out because you never know, right? When they had dudes like in the ground, like bleeding out, okay, and cops, like 4 of them still pointing guns at him, and then, no, you don't understand. They got to keep pointing because you never know. What if he finds the strength to, pull in his pocket and take out a gun and take all 4 of them out? Like, just dumb shit, right? Let's move on.
You've got this guy that was hired for diversity reasons, for affirmative action reasons, which, by the way, if you looked at the history about affirmative action, it is one of the most ridiculous, most racist things that has ever come about in this country. Well,
Look, Brad doesn't know that. Look, let me tell you something. We don't know why this guy was hired. I do know this, okay? When it comes to police academies, I mean, unless we're questioning the police academies, are we trying to suggest that the police academies, just let people in just like that? I mean, what you see, the reason this is like, I could tell that this is like Breitbart, or it has that written all over it, okay? And then he says affirmative action is one of the most racist things to ever happen in this country. Let me tell you something. We can have a debate about it for affirmative action. We can, right? But to call it like the most racist thing in the history of this country, really? Do you even know the history of this country? So what they did to the Native Americans wasn't racist, right? No, but don't bring up the past. You're bringing up the past. Like, no. Like, one of the most racist things in the history of this, like, really? So slavery, it's right up there with slavery, according to you? According to you. It's up there with Jim Crow, according to you. Like it's right up there. You're fucking shitting me, right? Now the reason he's saying, let me tell you why he's saying this, okay? Because one of the criticisms that police departments have had is that many police departments don't resemble the community, right? So they're like 99% white, and it's a community with 80% African Americans or 80% Hispanics, right? So they want police officers to resemble their community. So, people don't just get scared because somebody's a certain skin color, or, like they couldn't relate to that community better. That's been one of the criticisms, right? And now that this one, like, white cops are shooting people left and right? I mean, a vast majority of cops shooting people are white. And then there's one Somalian cop shoots somebody, all of a sudden, see what happened? We put Somalians in the freaking police force? You're shitting me. Yes, it's true that there's been black cops that have shot people, that now there's a Somali cop that happens to be Muslim that shot somebody, okay? And there's been white cops that shot somebody, that there's been Hispanic cops that shot somebody. There's a problem with police training in this country, okay? There's a big problem. But that's where Brad over here is getting that from. That's where he's getting it from. Let's move on.
People with similar qualifications automatically getting hired due to their race, due to their creed, due to their religion. It is absolutely ridiculous. It was
this dude. I mean, he sounded like the beginning of American History X right now. I swear to God.
Introduced to even the playing field between whites and blacks, but because of the whole civil rights thing. So,
that civil rights thing. It's such that civil rights thing. Like, I actually saw, not this video, but I saw somebody say, I swear to God, that civil rights thing is one of the most racist things that has ever happened in this country. I mean, this is insane, right? People wanting equal rights to white people. Oh, that's such a racist thing, right?
Now it has moved on and is stretched out to Muslims and other groups of people who feel that they're being oppressed. Well, at what cost do we make sure that we're not hurting the poor Somalis' feelings?
I honestly don't know why this is about tamales. I don't get it.
The poor Somalian. We don't want to hurt his feelings, but it's okay to put this violent individual in the police force where he gunned down a woman in a safe neighborhood, in an upscale neighborhood. You understand? This wasn't like this was in Detroit or something. This wasn't.
Oh, that's what it is. Now, first of all, violent individuals, police officers, okay, have a very high rate, okay, very high rate of domestic violence, okay? I mean, police officers beat up their wives at a much higher rate than most professions, right? Police officers at a very high rate have alcohol problems, right? So there's, that could be addressed, right? Maybe it's true. Maybe this individual didn't belong in the police force, okay? Maybe that's true. But I know a lot of, white cops that don't belong in the police force either, okay? That they're easily irked and they don't know how to de-escalate situations. They escalate everything, right? It's so we could have that conversation, but you know what? That's not what this is about. Well, what is this cop doing in this safe, upscale New York neighborhood? Like, what's he doing there? That's not where he should be patrolling and shooting people. What are you doing over there? You should be over there, in Detroit or something like that. Chicago. Like, you should be over there shooting people, right? Well, what are you doing shooting people in safe white neighborhoods? That's not where you should be doing this. That's not what we. with taxpayers, wink, wink, you know, that's not what we hire you to do. What are you doing in these safe, you know, neighborhoods? You should go do it in those poor neighborhoods, okay? Where all the bad people are, okay? You know, like all the blacks and the browns and all them. Go do it over there. What are you doing in the safe neighborhood? I mean, never mind the fact that this police officer was called to the scene, right? Never mind the fact that they heard a loud bang that sounded like a shot, like, I don't know, a gun or something. Never mind all that. What are you doing there drawing your guns? This is, you're supposed to go do it over there with them. But what are you doing it here for? Right?
South Chicago or something. Okay, this was Minneapolis. There's not it's not great all over Minneapolis, but this.
Come on, this is Minneapolis. This is Minneapolis. This isn't Chicago, right? People over here deserve to be, you know, treated with respect, and you don't have a right to be scared and fight for your life in a safe neighborhood. Okay? Well, what happened to all those times that we said, you know, cops, they don't patrol like the rich neighborhoods. That's not where they meet their quotas and stuff like that. Okay? When rich, you know, people are having, or upscale people are having parties, you know, drinking outside, you know, police don't show up to shut it down and harass them and shit like that. Every time we said, oh, that's ridiculous. That's not true. Police patrol everywhere equally. Like, shut up, right? Get the fuck out of here.
It was. You know, and we like to talk about, oh, you know, if you're a white person, you know, nothing's going to happen to you with the cops. Well, when are we going to dispel that lie? Nothing happens. Have you ever watched the show Cops? You ever see how many white people down south get arrested? So I've never understood that whole entire train of thought that white people don't get arrested or anything.
Yeah, New Yorker Brad. So now you know how he sees you Southern white people. See that? He even thinks Southern white people are below him. Now, have you seen the show Cops? See how those Southern white people get arrested all the time? You know, anyway, look, I don't need to play more of this, okay? This is absolutely insane, right? I mean, he goes on to talk about Muslims and how Muslims are problems, and apparently Muslims can be cops now, right? I mean, this is crazy. I mean, are you kidding me? Let me give you my thoughts on this, okay? This is definitely a tragedy, at very least, okay? Now, we don't know the full story yet, but I mean, this woman was killed. I mean, you see it. I'm looking at Fox News right now, right? Bright to be. Look at it, right? You see it all over the media. According to Brad here, nobody's covering it. I don't know what world he lives in. It's everywhere. Everybody knows about it. Okay? But this is terrible. Okay? I mean, this shouldn't be happening. I don't want innocent people getting killed by cops. I don't care if they're black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I don't want anybody getting killed by cops. Right? But you know, these opportunities. I mean, but I have to point out the reactions here. Where's Blue Lives Matter here? Where is it? I remember when that black guy killed 2 cops, and you had Fox News, you know, blaming Black Lives Matter, and you know, all the terrorist organization, they're out to kill cops. You know, but every time a white man kills a cop, you don't hear about it. More cops have been killed by white men than all other races combined, all other ethnicities combined. Now, do I want every white people to start getting shot, you know, blindly by cops because that the cop killers have been white? No, I don't want anybody to get shot by cops, right? So I'm trying to be, as consistent as I can here. I really am. This type of rhetoric is what's really, really hurting the country, man. Like this is, but it has to be dealt with. Like it has to be responded to. Why can't this just be another story of a unarmed person getting shot by cops? Right? But if you don't want people to point out, like let's say you've been following, like like on Facebook, for example, like you'll have friends and those friends have friends, and sometimes you see their post, right? And people just act differently depending on the situation and the circumstance, okay? Everybody wants to support all the cops. All the cops are in unity when it's convenient. Everybody wants to say cops are diverse when it's convenient. But then they want to complain about diversity when it's convenient. Right? So as it stands right now, it looks like yet another cop did what he's trained to do. Right? This is what they trained them to do. Like every single time, like when that cop shot Castile, right? Everybody was defending it. Said, "Oh, you don't understand." In the cop's point of view, he's scared, right? And then what happened? They started posting all these videos all over social media of people that got out of cars and started shooting cops, and justifying one killing because look at all these lunatics that have done this to cops. You never know. Guess what? One of them was a woman. In one of those videos, it's a woman shooting a cop dead. So how does this cop know that this woman isn't armed? How does he know that? You guys set the standard. This dangerous standard was set by the Blue Lives Matter movement, okay? And the Fox Newses of the world and all that. That's who set the standard. This never question a cop standard. I didn't set that standard. Now, if you could admit, you know what? Now that I saw it from this perspective, I could admit I was wrong. I see where you guys are coming from now. Like, if you could just admit that, I'd be fine with that. But no, all of a sudden it's oh, nobody cares because she's white. Like, what is this guy talking about? What are you talking about? So this is sad. This obviously it makes this country look really bad because over there in Europe and over there in Australia, the land down under, okay, kangaroos and all that, in that continent/country down there, over there in Australia, this isn't like a norm, okay? This is shocking over there. Like when they hear about this, like an Australian woman got shot over there, to them this is shocking. Like, why would the cop shoot at somebody that's unarmed? Like, they don't understand it, okay? They don't get it. Like, they've shown video footage of police procedures here in this country that we're told is, oh, this is the right way to do it, and this, that, and third, right? They've shown, okay, these practices to police officers like in Sweden and the UK and Germany, and they're like in shock. Like, wow, they shot him dead. Like, they can't believe it. This is shocking over there. Over here, we've been desensitized to cops shooting people. It's like normal. But we've been desensitized to cops shooting a certain type of people, right? And now that a cop shot a woman, what happened to a lot of the alt-right movement, like hate, like feminism, and they're all like, oh, they want equal rights and double standard. It's women want extra rights and this, that, right? But now, like, listen to yourselves. Oh, this is a woman. She was about to get married. Like, if they really, If I acted the way you guys act when a minority gets shot, you would say I'm a fucking monster. Okay? If this is the way I acted, oh, we don't know what happened. Hey, look, I think the police officer has rights. Give him and his police captain and the police union, give them all the time they need to get their story together. Okay? We don't know what you don't know what happened beforehand. You don't know what she did. You don't know what she said. You don't know what he was feeling. He was scared for his life. You've never been in that situation. So this is obviously a terrible thing. I am, I've been telling people forever we've got to do something about police, but no, the police are perfectly fine. Okay, no, the training is perfectly fine, right? Until it happens to somebody that looks like you, somebody you could relate to. Then, because you've been heard in this video, right? I mean, he was talking about Southern whites getting arrested. And, there's still even I guess a status there. I don't know, right? But it's not just an ethnic thing or racial thing, because it's also if this was a homeless man, right? That was there was a story of a homeless man, and they caught this on tape. Okay, the police officer showed the homeless man his fist, and he said, "You see these? They're about to beat the shit out of you." Then he put on gloves. He proceeded to beat the shit out of this guy. And while he's beating the shit out of him, he's saying, "Stop resisting." They beat the shit out of him so bad that he later died in the hospital. The jury found him not guilty. Okay? But that's a homeless white guy. Well, nobody cares about him. He wasn't in a upscale, white, safe neighborhood. He was in the dirty side of town with all the poor people. He was just a worthless, homeless dude. He's got issues, right? So there's many problems here, okay? But there you go, man. I mean, this is a lot of these things are going to happen. Like a white cop shooting somebody is bound to happen at this rate, okay? So I'm expecting Brad, next time a white cop shoots an unarmed person, to come out and say, "Hey, why did he have to shoot multiple times? This monster." What about the cops that shot through a windshield of a vehicle over 50 times? Not guilty. I mean, you got to empty the clip and reload for that. That's insane. This is crazy, man. But I'm expecting, Blue Lives Matter, to go all out right now, full force. I'm expecting Blue Lives Matter full force right now, right? I'm expecting Blue Lives Matter out there, with picture little girls saying "My daddy's lives matter" while she's hugging her daddy in a police uniform, because those are the only dads that matter, The sons and daughters of the unarmed people getting shot, yeah, who cares about them, Their lives, whatever. There you go. Right? This is DStyle. I'm out.